You know, we're always hearing about the grind, the hustle, the sleepless nights of the entrepreneur. But what's the real story behind all that startup glory? Today, we're going to move past the myth of the tireless founder and uncover the scientific truth about their well-being. So let's dive in and see what the science really tells us.
Okay, so let's start with the myth. We all know the stereotype, right? The visionary, the innovator, basically the hero of the modern economy who puts everything on the line. It's this powerful, almost romantic image that, let's be honest, fuels a ton of dreams.
And this is the phrase you hear over and over again. It's really the core of the whole entrepreneurial legend, this story of immense sacrifice for the possibility of immense success.
But it leaves a huge question just hanging there, doesn't it? What is the real cost? What's the personal toll of all this constant risk-taking and relentless pressure? I mean, when you start to peel back the layers of that myth, the reality is, well, it's a lot more complex and, frankly, a lot more human.
And here's where you see that contrast laid bare. The expectation? It's all about autonomy, innovation, and of course, success. But the reality? Well, as the research shows, the day-to-day is often defined by what one study calls an uncertain and emotionally demanding process. Big difference.
So, to get to the bottom of this, we're not just going to rely on anecdotes. We're turning to the science. What we're breaking down today is based on a massive scientific review that looked at everything researchers have learned about what they call entrepreneurial well-being, or EWB, over the last 30 years.
And when I say massive, I am not kidding. The researchers didn't just glance at a few studies. Nope, they systematically reviewed 525 separate scientific articles. That gives us an incredibly solid picture of what's really happening.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Check out the timing. Look at that explosion in research. Get this. Over half of all the scientific papers on this topic were published in just the last 3 years of the study period. This tells you this isn't some old, dusty field of study. It's a topic that is urgently, right now, super relevant.
So what exactly is EWB? Well, simply put, it's a field of study that gets that an entrepreneur's well-being is about way more than just profit and loss. It recognizes that the health and happiness of the founder directly impacts the sustainability of their business, its ability to innovate, and even the broader economy.
Right, so by digging through all 525 of those papers, the researchers were able to basically map out the entire field. And what they found is that the scientific conversation really boils down to 5 core topics. Let's take a look at what they are.
And here they are. You can see researchers are focused on everything, from the unique pressures and resilience strategies tied to gender, all the way to the rise of social entrepreneurship. They're looking at the fundamentals, like health and job satisfaction, the huge impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, and of course, the big questions of happiness and life satisfaction.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. After all that talk about stress and burnout, the data actually reveals a paradox. It turns out multiple studies show that entrepreneurs consistently report being happier and more satisfied with their jobs than regular employees. It seems like that sense of autonomy and purpose provides a really powerful shield against all the stress.
Now, one of the most important areas of this research is gender. Scientists are really digging into the distinct challenges that female founders face, but also the different coping mechanisms and resilience strategies they use. It's a recognition that the entrepreneurial journey is definitely not a one-size-fits-all experience.
And of course, you really can't talk about well-being in the 21st century without talking about the pandemic. This became a huge theme in the research, with studies looking at the direct hit to entrepreneurs' mental health, the financial stress, and how the entire support system around them was tested.
Okay, so knowing all of this, what can we actually do about it? The great thing about this research is that it doesn't just point out the problems. It offers concrete, evidence-based recommendations for entrepreneurs themselves and for the people who support them. It really boils down to 3 key steps. First, build better support systems. That means reducing financial stress by making funding and resources easier to get. Second, focus on education that goes beyond just the business plan. We're talking about teaching the soft skills you need to navigate the emotional roller coaster. And third, and this point really can't be stressed enough, entrepreneurs have to actively prioritize their own self-care. Sleep, nutrition, balance, these are not optional extras.
And the researchers themselves wrap it up with this really powerful statement. They emphasize that while all the outside support matters, personal responsibility is just non-negotiable. At the end of the day, the entrepreneur has to take ownership of their own well-being.
So all of this scientific evidence really points to a necessary shift in our thinking.
It means we need to fundamentally redefine what we even mean by success in the world of entrepreneurship.
So here's the bottom line. True success isn't just about surviving the storm. It's about building a ship that's strong enough to navigate any weather. An entrepreneur's well-being, their health, their resilience, their optimism, it isn't some reward you get after you succeed. It's the very resource that makes sustainable success possible in the first place.
And that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. In a world that's so obsessed with growth charts and valuations, what if we measured the health of our economy by the health of our innovators? What if the true success of a business was the well-being of the person who created it? It's a powerful question, and one that could really change the future of how we think about business. Thanks for tuning in.